welcome to the Make Your Own Music for Chapter 7. Today we're in D major, and in D major you have two sharps instead of one. I cover those notes in the foundations, and today I'm going to focus primarily on building out a really nice 8-measure song, and I'm going to use the chord chart. So you can download this music and print it out if you want, and it's free, and there's one for every lesson. So having that at your fingertips can help some. If you're looking for ideas about how to make the chords come alive, a lot of that has to do with what's happening in the left hand, and in the songs they give you examples. I will be playing many of those to show you, right, kind of how to build something up. But sometimes it's nice to be able to see it too. All right, so on this Make Your Own Music page, you have the harmony, and we're going to work with these three chords. One is a D chord, and then the A chord with C sharp in the bass, and then this is a G chord with B in the bass. And the reason I'm doing that is that as a beginning musician, it's a little easier if you're not hopping all over the place. So we have a D in the bottom here. There's the bass note. Then C sharp, right? If you have your hand a little into the black notes, you can reach that without twisting your hand, right? It goes there, and then the next note is there. So they're all nice and close, right? That's the bass. And then the chord, every other note. I talked about this a little bit in lesson 6, where you can take the bottom two notes and go down one inside the scale notes, right? D to C sharp, F sharp to E. Top notes stay the same. There's your A chord with C sharp in the bass. And then what we do is we take everything down a step. And that's G chord with B in the bass. So you want to get really familiar with that. And one way of doing that is you just set up your 8-measure phrase. You start by playing the bass notes, so you hear the chord changes, and then you just start to fill it in. Now, you can use this to teach the left hand, and if you want, you can improvise on top of this, right? So I just wanted to show that to you today, get a little bit more into this idea of creating an 8-measure song. So we have the D. We're in 3/4 times, so 3 beats in each measure. Three, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so I had a pretty, well, to me, very famous violin teacher I studied with in graduate school. He became the concertmaster of the Chicago Symphony for the last 12 years of his career. When I connected with him, he was the concertmaster in Houston. And he used to like to break things down and get things organized. And a lot of what I'm sharing with you is influenced by what he shared with me. He used to say, you know, David, a song is either in 2 or it's in 3. And he said, it's either a song or it's a dance. So a dance has a rhythm that you can move to, and a song, right? The Streets of Laredo, definitely a song, so the words make a huge difference. When you're deciding to put things on top of your chords, you can kind of choose, am I making a dance or am I making a song? So a simple way of saying it's a song is very often you'll have longer notes. And if you start using the eighth notes, right? So you can kind of fool around. Getting a left hand that is on automatic pilot, so most of your attention can be going to the right hand. Super good idea. We keep that left hand more simple. Slower notes, less changes, easier to keep track of. It's kind of an interesting thing. Classical music, the hardest classical music sometimes changes the chord like almost every other note or on every beat. And in some songs and folk music, bluegrass music, the easier stuff to play is changing once a measure or once every other measure. So when you're going to make up your own songs, if you keep the left hand simple and clearly change on the downbeats, you give yourself an opportunity to choose the improvised notes of the right hand so they fit, and you start to have it work out so it sounds nice. You know, if you start playing and it clashes here, and then it clashes here, you know, and then, you know, it clashes everywhere, you get frustrated. So one way of making this super simple is to play eighth notes in the right hand against quarter notes in the left hand, or slower. Okay, so you get that going, and then you can throw in long notes every once in a while to take a breath. We talked about that the last time. Okay, and in the echo and in the jam, I give different combinations of quarters and eighths. And if you jam with that rhythm, it'll start to kind of get into your bones. And when you're starting to make up your own music, it's like, okay, I did this for a while, now I'm going to change the rhythm. Those things will naturally start to pour into your songs and make them more interesting to you and to anyone who might be listening. And then, so for today, the big deal is learn how to get the left hand going steady and be able to organize those chord changes so that they're predictable and you know what's coming, so that when you add the melody on top, you can start to land on the notes that sound good, especially when the chord changes. And as long as you're moving through with eighth notes, you know, you can almost get away with anything. The idea, though, is over time, you know, a little bit each day, over weeks, and you'll get to the place where, oh, yeah, you know, that really sounds good. And not only does it sound good, but you can keep going. And every time you sit down, you can kind of play that tune. The notes are a little different, chords may be a little different, but it has that vibe. And the vibe usually is created by choosing 2 or 3 different elements and then sticking with them. So the repetition starts to fill out the shape and the look of a piece. Okay? I hope you find that helpful. It really is an important step to solidify that left hand so you can get the right hand going with it. Thanks very much.